VR is the abbreviation of virtual reality, namely virtual reality, using computer systems and sensor technology to generate three-dimensional forms. And people can participate by mobilizing their senses, vision, hearing, smell, touch, etc. The application of VR has strong scalability. Currently, in games, business, medicine, social, sports, construction, and other fields brought the stereo experience. Virtual reality can bring human infinite possibilities. Only unexpected. No can't describe VR. This is why the future of virtual reality is so desirable. More and more scholars have discussed the possibility of surreal and superhuman under the background of the rapid development of virtual reality technology. Scientists who are from WIMI Hologram Academy of WIMI Hologram Cloud Inc. NASDAQ WIMI discussed the boundary between virtuality and reality in the application scene based on VR technology. Scientists distinguished the boundary from two aspects: the urgency of the limitation for the boundary between virtuality and reality, and the three features of VR, which include the non-reality, the non-material, and the non-spatio-temporal of VR. Scientists emphasized the importance of human consciousness in identifying the virtual and the real, as well as the boundary interaction between virtual reality and the real world. The two are in parallel, proposing the transition space to connect the two, which can help people to have a deeper understanding of the relationship between virtual reality and the real world. If someone thinks that the internet makes people less distant, virtual reality is eliminating that sense of distance, bringing different people together and moving anywhere around the world. For example, opening a virtual reality social window for users to meet, talk, and play games in a virtual environment means that people can be together anytime, anywhere, all the time. In addition, some people think that VR is the expansion of the real world. After the realization of VR in the future, it is natural to travel and vacation in the VR world. With virtual technology, it will no longer be subject to time and space constraints, such as reuniting users with dead relatives and allowing dead relatives' images to interact with them. Virtual space ignores the established law of time and space and realizes the interaction between humans and time and space at a very low cost. At this stage we need to use the head display equipment to achieve VR. But the head display equipment is just a transitional product. The future trend is that people don't need to wear any equipment can have extreme immersion, such as retinal display technology is a black technology, using swinging two-dimensional optical fiber array four-dimensional light projection on the retina. Realize naked eye watching whales from the stadium ground jump video. Therefore, image capturing and processing technology is the earliest mature and widely used technology. Current research and development of quantum computing technology for information coding, storage, transmission, and manipulation ability have qualitative improvement. It will be the virtual reality image processing speed reached an unprecedented breakthrough. At the same time, quantum computing technology has great advantages to optimize AI, and the development of AI will promote the development of virtual reality high-quality content. Finally, neuroscience and brain-computer interactions, which in the future may allow virtual reality to skip the process of information embodiment informatization and retransmit information directly into the brain. When these technologies become mature, virtual reality technology will be a common product of the human brain and the AI virtual brain. For example, in games made in virtual reality, the intelligent NPC with AI elements will interact with players more truly, and its appearance will make the virtual world truly alive. The meaning of virtual reality may not lie in technology but art. It appears to make up for our sense of reality. Immersive is the crucial keyword of virtual reality. It means to forget the real world and immerse yourself in the virtual world, and feel that that world is as real as reality. Virtual reality can design the user's world, and the future of virtual reality content will also develop toward intelligent personalization. At present, humans are working on AI, artificial intelligence and VR, virtual reality technology. With the rapid development of AI and biotechnology, human-machine fusion can be fully realized in the future. Virtual reality is a double-edged sword, so it is particularly important to determine the boundary between virtual reality and the real world. Only by integrating the two from the beginning to the development can the human society continue to operate harmoniously. The relationship between the virtual space and the real world is like the relationship between the parallel universe in quantum mechanics. That is, the virtual space is separated from the real world and exists both similar and different other worlds in parallel to the original real world. Due to the immersive, interactive, and imaginative characteristics of the virtual space. People immersed in VR can tend to fuse the two parallel spaces. Some people think that there is always no absolute real and absolute virtual gap in the current world, and the time and space where people live and people's observations determine the rules of the world. This partly emphasizes the organic theory of opposition between spaces. From the perspective of human beings, the most intuitive difference lies in that the real world is the material and spirit of human beings. To realize the coexistence of the two, various rules and moral norms must be formulated on how to use virtual reality. Virtual reality has non-reality. It is the collection and expression of information, and is a virtual world without physical attributes such as volume, weight, pressure, and density. The reality embodied in virtual reality is created by modern science and technology, and the real world is the carrier. It exists in cyberspace and depends on the development of the real world, which is the product of human society and the progressive science and technology. In essence, it is a new way of life and production produced by relying on modern technology in the real world, which is an extended expression of the human spiritual world. This is a fictional story, shared through a certain carrier to achieve the collective imagination, and virtual reality is born to share a certain fictional scene or story. The immateriality of virtual reality, which is also its limitation, cannot directly and truly transform the real world. This determines that the future development of virtual reality in the production of content, and high-quality content, should absorb the cultural connotation of the real world. In the real world, ancient laws such as rotation, day and night, mountains, and water unconsciously remind people of the change of time and space, while in virtual reality, users cannot feel the passage of time and space distance, which is not in line with human visual and cognitive habits, and will give people a sense of withdrawal. In fact, from a scientific point of view, more truth comes from the construction of people's consciousness than from simple perception, because there is a very limited thing that humans can perceive. For example, human eyes cannot see the spectrum beyond the visible light, cannot hear the sound beyond 20 to 2000 Hz, cannot smell the toxic gas carbon monoxide taste, and human aging will also weaken the perception ability. The construction of consciousness exists independently. For example, when applied to the virtual reality games with horror themes, people cannot consciously control the response of fear, and the materiality of the carrier determines the boundary of the virtual reality space. Virtual reality brings people a sense of immersion. People interact in the virtual space, but the changes caused by such interaction cannot be equally changed in the real world. The virtual practice of virtual space is not real practice. If people make full use of the practical experience gained in the virtual space and transform it into the real world, it should be the best coexistence relationship between the virtual reality and the real world, which emphasizes the integrity of the system. A buffer zone is needed between virtual reality and the real world. That is, to create a huge chemical vessel to experiment and turn it into a real-world form. The development of the real world determines the development of virtual reality, and the development of virtual reality also serves the development of the real world. So we need to clearly recognize the boundary relationship between them.